Today's segment of Sound Balming is brought to you by Jimmy and Mary's Authentic Body Care. I cannot express to you how much we love their products. Although we use them all year, as the weather gets colder, we need these products even more. The dreaded drop in temperature, the dryness, the itchiness, and the unnecessary flakiness is inevitable. Shea butter from Jimmy and Mary's Authentic Body Care is the only thing that works for my skin and hair needs. Not only do these products cure my dry skin, the whipped butter goes on smoothly and doesn't leave that uncomfortably thick, sticky residue. Bonus? It smells absolutely amazing. There are so many different scents to choose from too. Not only do they carry skincare products, there are products for authentic living, face, shower, hair and beard, spritzers and perfumes, and bath products. Let me tell you, we cannot even keep the stuff in the studio. The entire production team as well as all our children use Jimmy and Mary's product. Jimmy and Mary's take pride in creating quality, handcrafted products from simple ingredients for the entire family. Their products are made for all skin types and are 100% handmade, 100% vegan, and 100% cruelty-free. Skincare is important. Moisture is key, and keeping our skin and hair hydrated is essential. I cannot emphasize how much we trust Jimmy and Mary's for all of our skincare needs. Hurry on up to jimmyandmarys.com and check out their products. Did I mention service is fast and efficient too? Don't forget to mention that you heard about Jimmy and Mary's Authentic Skincare on Sound Balming. Use the discount code SOUNDBALM20 to get 15% off. That's SOUNDBALM20 for 15% off at Jimmy and Mary's Authentic Skincare.
Hey everybody, welcome to Sound Bombing. I created this show for people who want to experience a radical, life-changing journey through the sounds of my diverse guests. I hope that each sound you hear on this show will strengthen your faith, encourage your dreams, and challenge you to awaken the greatness within you.
Drop the bombs. Drop the bomb. We're gonna drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We're gonna drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We come to drop the bomb. Drop the bomb.
This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new values, and a new experience.
LaMarr Darnell Shields.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time of the day is. Welcome to my show. I'm your host, Dr. LaMarr Darnell Shields, the creator of Sound Bombing. And my goal with this show is to introduce you to people with ideas that will help you unlock your full potential. Like my last guest, Lee Hopkins, who talked about transformational coaching, and he also talked about social emotional learning. Today is no different, of course, as you're looking. I have an amazing guest who's patiently waiting to be introduced. But you all know, if you're new to the show, you don't know, but we always start out with our three breaths. If you are old head and old bomber, thank you for coming back. Thank you for sharing me with all of your friends. And for those who have not, you want to do that. You want to go to every platform because we're on every platform. Again, if you want to also make a donation to the show, you can go to buymeacupofcoffee.com/soundbombing. And I am always so honored and grateful that you decide to hang out with me. Either you heard that I was just a cool dude with some good information, or you probably heard that I bring on some of the dopest, amazing, most amazing people on this planet to share with you some amazing things. I think the latter part is that's why you're probably here. So let's get started. So I want to encourage my guests and everybody at home to find a comfortable position. We're going to start with our three breaths. And I always start with our hands on our laps and our palms are facing up and your shoulders are rolled back because we want to create some good vibes coming through our computers. So I want to ask you to slowly close your eyes. Everything is soft. Your face is soft. We're going to start with our three breaths. And we always inhale through our nostrils. For those that don't know, you're new here, I'm always talking about breath work because it is the thing that keeps us balanced. I can easily pull out my research ahead and talk about what it's been doing for people across the country, in particular dealing with this pandemic. So again, if you're new, we always start out with this. If you're driving, please don't drive and do this. My podcasting insurance does not cover any of this. So let's get down to it. Start our first breath. So we're going to inhale, hold it for 3 seconds. We're going to push it out of our mouths. Exhale. Now we're going to go a little deeper. Inhale, 5 seconds. Inhale. Hold it. Push it out. Exhale. Now we're going to go a little deeper. 10 seconds. Inhale. Go deep. Inhale. Hold it. Exhale. Push it out. And we call that the breath of life. Now, sound bombers, the terms brand and business are often interchangeably. While the dictionary definition might be similar, I don't think this is a fair swap because anyone can create a business. But building a brand goes far and beyond filing your LLC paperwork and opening a business, a checking account, or just getting that sign outside the door with your name on it. A brand is more than a company logo or a slogan, or a cheesy slogan, I might as well say. It's how people feel when they see your logo or hear your name. It's like when people say stuff like, can you go Xerox that for me? Can you go Google that for me? I need some Kleenex. That's what a brand is. Branding is the most important or the most powerful marketing tool in the world for individuals and business alike. Establishing your brand can be the difference between success and mediocrity and failure. Whether you are launching a startup or rebranding your existing business, our next guest, Sterling McKinley, the brother who's sitting there with the fly blazer on, will help you understand brand identity and why you should put effort into building a brand. Sterling is a window pane, suit wearing international keynote speaker and digital marketing and brand strategist. Through his firm, McKinley Media, Sterling has provided digital marketing, social media, and branding strategies on projects with the Department of Defense, Bridgestone Golf, and Sprint. His newest book, Binge-Worthy Branding, examines how Amazon, Netflix, and Starbucks are using artificial intelligence to personalize their branding and build brand loyalty. His writing and presentation are the perfect blend of useful, simple, practical, relationable advice, and his goal is to help brands become more human while building stronger connections with their customers. I would like to welcome my brother with the fly blazer, Sterling McKinley, to the Sound Bombing Studios. Brother, welcome to the family. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the great intro.
Oh, man, it's about you, man. You got that blazer looking fly. I could not come off with a whack introduction. So let our listeners know where you're calling in from. And then I like to do a mental and physical check because you know there's a pandemic, right? You know that this poverty is all at an all-time high. You know racism and all the phobias are all at an all-time high, and we still don't have a president. So I want to check in with you mentally. How are you doing? And then also let our listeners know where you're calling in from, brother.
Yeah, I'm doing good. You know, I will say we're in a time now that is unlike any other we've ever been through. You know, this year for me has been a roller coaster. You know, my dad passed.
I'm sorry.
Back, followed by the birth of my son, and then all of our lives and careers are just turned upside down. You know, Thanksgiving, which is coming up soon. You know, we can't do that the way we used to. So this year has been a learning process. It really has, and just learning how to adjust to whatever comes at us. So you know, I think what's all said and done, this time has made us stronger, but it is tough. And you know, one of the things I'll talk about today, you know, this year has told us in business and other areas of life that we have to change and we have to adapt. You know, the status quo, the way we always did things doesn't work now. There's a new normal. And, you know, we all have to find ways to prepare for that. You know, today I'm calling from Washington, D.C., about 20 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. Once again, just glad to be in the program. Oh,
man. So let's get started, man. Talk about the importance of brand management. Why is that important?
You said in the intro, your brand is everything. You know, I think a lot of companies and people, they get worried about, you know, product or price. All those things matter, but at the end of the day, it's all about a brand. And like you said before, people ask for a Kleenex. They say Xerox. They say Google it. They say all of those things in terms. They say, I want to ask, because that's the power of a brand. A brand is everything. And like you said in the intro, people confuse brand with marketing. So branding is what people think, what they feel about your company, about you. And people attach value to that brand. So think about some of the most biggest brands in the world, or luxurious brands, Maserati, or any brand. It's really in your customer's head. They're assigning no value to that brand. And when they do that, they'll start to pay more for that. So that's why it's so important. It's all about the thoughts your customer has about your business when they hear your name. And then on the other hand, marketing is the tactics you do to get out your word. So marketing could be email, it could be video, it could be social media, radio, TV. That's marketing. So, I really think people need to make a really clear distinction between marketing and what is branding. But, I read the story the other day, and there's another retailer every day going out of business. One, because things are just tough, and two, the pandemic. But if you think about the companies now that are doing well, it's the companies that years ago were already investing in technology and new things. Think about Amazon, think about Netflix, think about Starbucks, you think about Target, mobile ordering, all this stuff. So, the companies that I think are going to do well in the future are really all about branding, and not just about branding, but about customer experience.
Yeah.
And I believe
experience is major, man, with me, with my children. I mean, with everybody having that experience, almost like when I look at nonprofit organizations right now, so the nonprofits that I think that are doing well, they're connected to not only just their mission, but people buy into the mission. I work with a company called Harker Brothers Ice Cream, an organization run by African-American brothers, man, who actually own stock in the company. Okay. And so Harker Brothers is known for working with African-American males. They're known for social justice. Right. And I haven't even gotten to the ice cream yet, Sterling. I'm just talking about all the other things. So then when you out there fighting the power, dealing with racism and all the other phobias, and you eating this ice cream and you get this emotion that's sort of connected to that. Speaking of that, man, what are some of your favorite marketing campaigns and what brands do you admire?
Yeah. Well, the ones that named my book, first, I think Netflix. I think what they've done has been amazing. Back in the 90s, remember a Blockbuster? They were the big.
Say that one more time. People don't know. There's something called Blockbuster. Listen, that's a great example of somebody resting on the laurels. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, they were the biggest company. I mean, there were mom and pop stores, but you in the movie, you in the Blockbuster. And I remember as a kid, going there, being overwhelmed by all the DVDs and all the videos. And it was a good experience, we thought. But, Blockbuster made some key mistakes. One, they had these crazy late fees. You could pay $20 for a late fee. And back in the 90s, that's taking gas.
Come on, man. Especially Sterling, like just say you and I, we're hanging out. We think we're going to get through these 3 movies, right?
Right.
We renting 3 movies and we trying to kick we not. And then the late fees and the next day and next day. So you're right, man.
Yeah, that, and even you remember fees for not rewinding. It was a lot of stuff.
Oh, dude, you took me way. You are so. Hold up, let's stop right there. Blockbuster, wherever you are, the rewinding fee. You know what's interesting, Sterling? Our kids don't know what the hell we're talking about.
No idea.
That's what's funny. Like we really dating ourselves. They're like, you would charge because you wouldn't rewind. I remember that. I remember going in there and saying like, oh, snap, trying to be slick like, hey, my man, I forgot to rewind. He was like, okay, dude, but you still need to pay that fee.
Right. Yeah, so all those things about Blockbuster. And then the last one, there was no guarantee when you went to the store, they would have your video. You might have to wait, for hours or another store. It wasn't the best experience. But, I liken what happened then to now. And the late 90s, this thing called the internet started to come along. And Blockbuster, being the big company, said, this internet thing is just display. And Netflix came along. And Netflix said, you know what? They're charging late fees. Our movies or DVDs are free. Keep them as long as you want. And we'll mail them to you. Blockbuster ignored that for years and years. And slowly, Netflix ate away at them. And now there's no Blockbusters around. It's just a story we tell. So I think Netflix did a great job. And what they did, Netflix recognized the change in their customers' behavior and also on technology. And they took advantage of that. So I love what Netflix is doing. Amazon, especially in this time. I mean, getting things shipped to your home that are easy, that's fast and efficient.
Could you imagine being a kid? Could you imagine you and I just hanging out like we're cousins? We spending the night with, hey man, we want to get this by tomorrow. Like, could you? I mean, like I explained to my kids, Sterling, we were driving.
Right.
And I like to give history lessons, just subtle, not like you gonna sit down like those old folks. You gonna sit down and listen to me. And when I saw all of the Amazon trucks in the parking lots of many of the now defunct malls that are shutting down, I'm like, man, Amazon is like a gang, man. They coming, you see more Amazon trucks than you see, UPS or FedEx. And I told my children the power of a thought. I said, this guy was bold enough to start in his garage.
Yes, sir.
Said, you all know what Amazon's first product was? I said, a book. I said, you all don't realize it. Like, I said, then when Amazon saw that they were shutting down bookstores, there was like, here's another opportunity. So when you think about those ideas, they are really very revolutionary, man. And they move forward. But then believe me, somebody told Jeff Bezos, you got to be out your mind, man. You're going to knock out Barnes and Noble.
Right.
You're going to knock out all of these. And I can't even think of the other store, Greetings and Reading, Borders. You're going to knock out all these stores by selling books out your basement or your garage. Like, no, that's never going to happen. And
that's the thing too. If you think about this time we're in now, this pandemic, recession, whatever you want to call it, historically, these are the times that great companies and ideas are formed. People are home. People are just thinking about ways to expand. So this really is a time where there's tragedy, there's depression, but there are also great opportunities. So I think in the next few years, you will see so many new ideas and so many companies and books come out this time period. So these times, are when we're going to create our best works, I believe.
Yeah. So then how do you stay updated on the latest tools and trends, man? I mean, because things are constantly changing from one situation to another situation. We're going to talk about your book shortly, but how do you, as an individual, Sterling, stay updated with the latest tools and trends?
Yeah, it can be tough. Just education, being a lifetime student and constantly reading articles and blogs and watching videos before COVID, going to a conference here and there and seeing what people are saying in the industry. But it's challenging because things are always changing, always evolving. So just constantly be a student, and just be curious. Hey, what's this and what's that? And, trying to be forward thinking, trying to see what the next trend's going to be and kind of where things leading to. So, just being a student and just always trying to absorb information, I think is the way I stay abroad of all the upcoming trends.
Well, speaking of being a student, man, tell us about the brand elements that cause you to go from no fee to paid to speak. Because now I know my listeners are probably moving real close. Like, I love the Blockbuster story. I love the Netflix. But now I want to hear this gentleman talk about going from no fee to paid.
Truthfully, it was about branding. For years, I spoke for free, for low cost. I didn't have a good brand. My website was okay. Social media was okay. Even now I wear a bright red suit because that's part of my branding. You see me wearing this suit. So I had nothing. And what I realized is that meeting planners, people, they are paying you based on how you look. And it's really, it sounds, terrible, but people do judge you by your cover. And if you don't look a certain way, if you don't speak a certain way, present yourself, is that people are not going to see it. So I think for me, I invested in myself, my personal brand. So whether it was suits to wear, speaking, whether I was paying my own fees to go to certain talks and conferences that I knew that would help my career, investing in high quality video and pictures. So then when I had these talks, I could show other people what had I done. I said, "Oh, you done that? Okay, that looks good. Come work for us." So really investing in myself, I think, was the biggest thing that really made the biggest difference.
Hey, Stephen, have you ever gone back, because I'm about to talk about my stuff as well. Have you ever gone back and looked at some of your early stuff? I mean, from website, marketing, when you thought it was like this, like I'm going to kill him when I put this out there. Like from your signs, your pull down. Have you just ever looked at that stuff and be like, Man, what the hell was I thinking about?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so you're constantly have to reinvent yourself. I mean, the headshots you have, yeah, those are good for a year, two maybe. You got to redo them. You got to keep, refreshing yourself and whatever you do. But yeah, I mean, I came a long way looking back, but I see the most important thing was focusing my personal brand. Because now it's to a point where they meet me in person, they see me online. And when we meet in person or we meet on the call or something like that, oh, I remember you. You're the guy with the red suit on. You're the guy always talking about digital marketing, whatever. So I feel like for me, that's the thing that really helped me command higher speaking fees is just that strong branding.
So who is your ideal customer and how do you speak to them?
Right. It really varies. So it could be an organization. It could be a company that wants to come and do training. It wants to be to come in and speak to their customers or to the membership. So it really varies, but I'm really focusing on meeting planners and event planners and directors of learning and HR professionals. Those are really what I do. And that's a good point you brought up. So when I started out, all of my marketing was targeted towards the end user, the audience member, but they don't hire me. So now everything I do, whether it's LinkedIn, my videos, everything speaks to the decision maker. And that was a key move I made. So you know what? I need to change what I'm doing and stop talking to the masses and talk to the people that can sign the checks and get me on those stages.
Yes, say that again. For those that are listening who didn't hear anything else, that advice right there, Sterling, is golden. You want to talk to the people who are writing the checks, who are making decisions, who can get you there. No disrespect to the frontline staff because those people work really hard. But again, you want to go right there. I remember when we started, my business partner David and I, when we ran the Urban Leadership Institute, we did a lot of stuff for free, man. A lot of stuff for free. And then we saw what people were paying. They would even ask us, like, so how much do you charge? We were like a band, like, well, we don't. We just love doing this. And I'm sure the people that are listening to you right now, they just love and they're passionate about it. And I want to tell you all, don't chase the money. The money will show up. When you do the work, the money will show up. When you do the work, and I say the people that have the most, the people that give the most have the most, because I am a giver, man. Sterling, I am. If I can't speak somewhere, call my buddy Sterling. If I can't speak somewhere, call my buddy Keith Brown. If I can't speak somewhere, call my buddy Dr. Joe Johnson. And I want you all, my listeners, to realize that, because you can't do everything. Yeah, you pass that off to a colleague, and of course somebody's going to represent you well, right? You don't want to just choose anybody, because again, they're going to remember to say, "Hey, use my name. I can't be there." But again, it's my hope later on, this law of reciprocity, this law of giving and receiving, that it would actually come back around to us.
Yeah, I want to add to that really quick. I'm in a post last week on social media, and it was called "The Power of Being Nice." And one of the things too, I think in business and life, we always make things more complicated, harder than they have to be. But for me, the last couple of years, I really focused on being extremely nice. I am a nice person, but really showing that. So the meeting planners, when I come to the event, I bring them a gift bag, $20, $30 filled with different stuff, gift cards, and so on. And you will not believe the response I get and how big of a difference that makes. Just being nice, just being relatable. So that's one thing too. I think, in this time and everything's so fast and, everybody's so gung ho, just slowing down, having conversations, being thoughtful, being caring. Yes, no, please, and thank you. That goes so far. It sounds cheesy, but that goes so far.
No, you're right, man, because I do a lot of work around diversity, equity, inclusion. And I remember, and I'm with a lot of schools, and there were two articles that came out. One was about how that schools can learn a lot from the Starbucks situation. That's one. And the other was schools and organizations can learn a lot from Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A is known for what you just said. Please, thank you. What are some other strategies that my listeners can use who are either speakers, want to become speakers, want to build their brand? I love the one that you say, giving them a gift bag, making them remember you. What are some other strategies that we can use out here so people can remember us?
I think you bring up Chick-fil-A is a great thing. Being nice, but also just being a servant. When I come to an organization, I say, I'm here to serve you. Tell me how I can help you. And I try to get inside to have a meeting planner. They have a lot going on. They're dealing with speakers. They're not sending in their bios, their headshots. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be the speaker that's going to be on time. That's going to have everything that you need. So With me, there's going to be no worry. So that's one thing that I do as well to really stand out. Um, I guess the next thing I really try to do is just study your person, your target audience, try to get an idea of kind of what they're doing. And I think once you know your audience, you can kind of predict what they may do next. So I always say, I feel like the best companies, if they can, they predict your next step. So when I started out business, years ago, I didn't have the best follow up on my customers. We would start a project, designing a website, and I would just kind of assume they knew what's coming next. And then I would get all these phone calls, emails, what's this, what's that? So keeping them informed of like what's going to happen, what are the pitfalls, what's can happen good and bad, and guiding them through the process, I think is so big. And the last thing that I mentioned, going back to what we said earlier, is customer service. How is it when there's a problem with your company, when your product breaks, when they call you about your service that didn't work? Are you courteous? Do you deal with that well? Do you answer their email in a timely fashion? When things go bad, how are you? I think those are the things that really can kind of build that brand and really stand out to customers.
So it was Sterling, was something that you said that really resonated with me because it's something that I use all the time. And you use this term serve. Yes. There's a powerful book I'll call The Power of the Serve. Talk to me about that word. And then where did that come from? Is that something that Sterling learned when he was a young kid? Is that something that Sterling learned when he went to college? Is that something that Sterling learned from just reading? But talk to my listeners about the power of serving, because you use that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about serving. I grew up in the church. My dad was a minister. So servant leadership was kind of always the thing that we heard about, and, serving your flock and your people. And that at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about them. My best talks that I have, it's not about me. It's about what I give to people and what they get from it. And seeing that light go off in their head when I, bring two concepts together. That's what I really love. And you brought up Jeff Bezos earlier, Bill Gates, anybody. If you think about it, the biggest companies in the world have created a mechanism to serve more people. Amazon wanted to send books. Now they're doing pharmacy. Now they're doing everything. Yes, it's about money, but they're trying to help people. So helping people is how you can grow and expand. Oprah Winfrey, anybody, you're helping people, and people are drawn to that. And then on a personal note, for myself, many years ago, I guess it's through prayer and, meditation and stuff, it came to me and said, Sterling, if you help people, you'll win. Like, just help people. That's all you have to do. Be a helper. So in my personal life, I'm a very helpful person, helping out my wife or my parents or friends, anybody. And that's just kind of my nature. So what I've done the last few years is really translate that helping nature from my personal life to my business life. And it's really, kind of help things taking off. But it's all about just being a serving leader, serving people and helping them achieve something. So at the end of the day, I think too, serving is helping you solve a problem. So if your tire is broken, I'll help you fix it. If you need a speaker, I'll do it. If you have a question, I'll answer that. People want to have solutions. People are looking for solutions. People are looking for leadership. They're looking for servant leadership. And I think when you have that, people are drawn to that.
Yeah. And I know one of the strategies that you use, I like the concept of servant, but one of the strategies that I know that you use is called binge-worthy branding.
Yes.
Talk to us about binge-worthy branding, and then also talk about how you utilize social media,
right,
and AI and LinkedIn to really build your brand and what that was actually like.
Right. So I wrote a book a few months back, and the title was Binge-worthy Branding. And everybody asked, what does that mean? So, I take the term binge. Think of binge watching, binge eating, shopping, whatever. And I combine that.
I like how, see, the preacher's son didn't start with the binge drinking, because that was the first thing. Like, he's so accurate. He didn't start with the binge drinking. You saw the nice stuff.
Right. Yeah, binge can go into anything.
Anything.
And I combine that with branding.
Yeah.
And think about, Netflix, you binge watch. Why? Because that show is so tied into who you are that you come back. some food tastes so good to you, you come back to it again and again. So what I'm saying is your brand needs to be binge worthy. It needs to be so in line with your customers' needs and wants that they come back to you again and again. And that's really what it means. So it means creating a brand that's really for your customers, that's so tied in to everything they want. They come back again and again, just like people come back again and again at Netflix. People stand in line for 20 minutes at Starbucks getting coffee. People order things on Amazon again and again. Why? Because these companies are binge worthy. They focus on customer service and they focus on making their branding personal. They make you feel like you're their one customer. They call you by your name at Chick-fil-A, Starbucks. They write your name on the cup. The little things like that mean so much that make you want to come back again and again. So
that's a big deal, man. I remember in the 80s, I think 80s or late 90s, the television show Cheers, which was in Boston.
Yes.
And the whole thing, everybody knows your name. When you walk in, I mean, because that's really our ego too. Our ego, exactly. When we walk into the place and you go to a restaurant, you and your wife go to a restaurant, Sterling. Let's just say when you all were dating, you sit down and like, hey, Sterling, you want your table? And I'm sure your wife's like, whoa, this dude is for real. But again, you're so right, that connection. But what is that formula, that binge? I'm thinking about that binge watch. Let me give you an example. Let me just put my stuff out there. There really aren't too many shows I'm connected to, but because I've been slowing down because of the holidays, man, I got caught up into this Netflix show called American Gangster, Trap Queen. not just American Gangster, but American Gangster Trap Queen. Man, let me just tell you this, Sterling, every night I got to watch one episode. I don't know what it is, man. And I keep saying, all right, I'm gonna just watch one. But man, if that one was more exciting, I know this one's going to be more exciting. What is that formula about when it comes to a brand being able to, and you talk about that's a person, brain research and all of that. You want to go that deep, but it's a part of that. What is that formula that people use to then pull people? Because some stuff, like I'm giving an example. My mother, who I love, I'm from Chicago. When the R. Kelly movie came, the whole Chasing R. Kelly, whatever it's called. She was watching it. My mother is almost 80. And I'm like, Mom, why are you watching this nonsense? I'm going to crack you up. Mom, why are you watching this nonsense? So I sit down with her. She's like, well, I want to watch it. Dude, Sterling, why I'm in the room with my mother for like 3 hours watching this nonsense with my mother? That's branding.
Yeah, exactly. So, I talk about this in my book, but if you think about now, everything is tracked. So we can watch views, we can see clicks, likes, open, share rate, everything. So every platform is tracked. And I believe smart companies are using that data to find out what people like. So you think about Netflix, you like that show because why? Netflix, it was tracking your past viewing history. And now they're recommending shows to you based on your past behaviors. So they say, hey, he liked these shows and these shows. He may like this show. Let's show that to him. So that's what companies are doing now. They're looking at your data. They're looking at your past buying, viewing behaviors, and now offering you similar products and services based on that. And there's
a huge debate. I want my listeners to know right now, there's a huge debate in certain communities about what are you doing with that data and sort of tracking. I mean, from a business standpoint, it's a good thing. From a moral standpoint, and depending on where you are, it could be something. It could be something different. But the reality is, they're using that technology that you just said to really pull you into whatever they want to pull you into.
Right, and touch on what you said. There are good and bad points, and that's kind of the double-edged sword technology. If you think about the internet, how many lives have it changed and careers have it started? Right now, without internet, without Zoom and Skype, what would we be? But at the same time, there's the dark side to the internet. But once again, it's a tool. You can use it for good or you can use it for bad. So that's something that I think comes along with everything, just depending how you want to use it. But once again, yes, it's about using that data to really make products and services that your customer will like. Because if you think about it now, there are so many customers out there. There's so many people. There's so many technologies. There's Skype. There's LinkedIn, TV, radio. For a company, it's too much information to look at. But when you use something like AI, you use something like analytics, that can look at the information, that can find trends and patterns. Now you can say, hey, I can take the information and make it personal. So now when you get the email from Amazon, it's not saying, hey, user, it's saying, hey, Sterling,
I know.
you may like this, this, or that. And it's based on what you bought in the past. So it can be a little bit scary, but
now I'm gonna tell you what's scary, Sterling. You and I having a conversation, and my Alexa is right there, or something else is on, and then all of a sudden, when I finish the conversation with you, Sterling, there's a book about branding.
Right.
Like, what is that about? Like, that's the part I think that really makes people nervous. Now, because you just talked about AI. Well, what are some of the risks when it comes to AI? I know you're talking about some of the opportunity. What are some of the risks as well?
Yeah. Well, once again, like I said, it depends how you want to use it, and there are some bad things going on. I mean, as far as tracking people and your movements and your cell phones, that is scary. And there's some stuff that's intrusive, like your Amazon Echo, whatever, is listening to you all the time, and it can be hacked. So there are a lot of downsides to that stuff. But what I think needs to happen, I think there needs to be more rules around these technologies. I think the government needs to step up and put more regulations around that, because companies are going to exploit something until somebody says stop. So I think there has to be rules put in place. I think companies have to do a better job of explaining to the customer what is going on. And saying, if you want, you can opt out of this service. So if you want to, click this checkbox, and we won't track your viewing behavior. We won't track this or that. I think those are some ways where, all this technology, AI and chat bots and all this stuff can be a little better received. But yeah, there are some very dark sides to it. There's people out there that have, bad things they want to do, and they're using AI once again to track people. Big Brother, surveil you. So there are downsides sounds to that.
So Sterling, I don't know about you, but I am a huge hip hop fan. I'm a hip hop fan till I die. Now that I have older kids, I try to still keep the positive hip hop music. When they were much younger, I was getting all my music from Walmart because it bleeped out all the music and everything. But hip hop is such a huge brand. It is a huge international brand, a huge export from our country to other countries. Talk to me about the intersection between hip hop and branding, and who do you think has been a master of doing that?
Yeah, great question. I think hip hop is a example of branding. I mean, the culture, the lifestyle, the dress, the food. I mean, everything. It's more than just music. It's so much bigger. So hip hop is a great export, a great brand. I think somebody's doing it well. I guess we have to go to Jay-Z. I mean, taking it past just music and taking the ventures, and I believe whatever you do, it can be done in multiple forms. So taking that and expanding that, I think, is a great way to go about it.
It's interesting when I think about the early days of hip hop music, groups that I used to love, Public Enemy, KRS-One, Brand Nubians, all those individuals, man. And I remember these hip hop artists during the late 80s and early 90s, they would talk about brands, and then they wouldn't make any money off the brand.
Exactly.
But now these new artists are like, listen, if I say your name, you better cut me a check or you better give me some gear. I'll never forget when Mary J. Blige first came out, and she was brought up by a guy named Grand Poobah who was in a group, Brand Nubians. And I remember he was rhyming. He says, Tommy Hilfiger Top Gear. And I remember when he said that, I was like, yo, he's talking about Tommy Hilfiger. Then I thought about all these other folks. And now these new artists, not only are they creating their own clothing line, Wu-Tang Clan is a great example. You mentioned Jay-Z, Pharrell, who's doing his thing. The new artists are like, if I mention your brand, be it alcohol or clothing, that I need to get a cut of that. Why do you think that there was a switch from like maybe in the 80s and the 90s to now artists are saying, hey, I need to get something off of if I'm going to mention your company?
Yeah, I think a few reasons. I mean, if you look into the media industry, I mean, it's amazing. You still read stories about artists being ripped off. So I think artists are finding out that money cannot be your only resource or your income. So other things, whether that's touring, whether that's promotions or sponsorship. So I think people are getting smarter. And, when hip hop started out, I guess small, for a few people, but look at all the corporations and people made money off that. I think now it's evident, hey, there's money around this and let's be smart about it. So I think that's why it makes so much sense. And I mean, from the opposite end, think about the brands. Brands want to be tied to hip hop. I always laugh now. If you watch the NFL, the NBA, anything, when they go to commercial, they're playing a rap song. Always. So the NFL is about rap. When they do the highlight videos, the NBA, everything. So because brands want to find ways to be tied to people. So brands do a terrible job of being human. They do. Once you become a brand, you're not human. So they use influencers, they use artists, all that stuff to relate back to people even more. So now that that's happening, I think it's smart for anybody, that has a following, that has pulled people to look into doing sponsorships or branding, because companies are trying to find ways to seem more human. So if we can have Jay-Z or Beyonce do something with our...
So I just started a business, Sterling, and I have this product, and I really believe that this product is it. My family's used the product. My cousin that don't like anything loves the product. People across the political aisles love the product.
Right.
People who speak different languages. Where should I go with this product? Whatever this it is.
Yes.
And then how do I then take it to the masses and then sort of get buy-in from them to then want to purchase this product, this thing that we're calling the thing?
Yeah, I'll say the first step when you have an idea or invention that sounds great to you, and it might be great, but first thing you have to do is do your research. So going back to data, Google is a great tool. So there's something called Google AdWords. If you log into that software, you can type in a phrase, a name. You can see how many searches were done for that. So normally, if there's a lot of searches being done for that topic or that product, that means there's some interest in that. Next thing, you can go to Google Trends. Google Trends, you can type in anything you want. And once again, they show you the web traffic for that search. So you can kind of judge how people are if they're looking for that product or not. The second thing is a kind of old school way, going to somewhere like SurveyMonkey and sending out a survey to your friends or people that would potentially like your product and asking them what they would think, what they would do, what they would like. But I think really that research. I think the great thing now too with social media and the internet is, before you go print a many copies of your book, before you design a prototype, you can do something like I'm going blank now. What are those sites called? You can do something like crowdfunding online where you can put up your idea. People can see that. People can vote on it. People can donate to it. So there's ways now that you can kind of have your idea validated before you invest, thousands of dollars in that. So I think
that what you call the wisdom? I know your work, you talk about the wisdom of the crowd. Is that what the wisdom of the crowd is as a marketing?
Yes, exactly. It's all about that. So, before you put that spin into that money behind it, find out if people will like it first. And, I liken that to what Netflix does. So in the last few years, Netflix has begun producing original programming content. Before they would buy things from other networks and they would show that. And that's great. But he said, hey, you know what? We're going to create shows for our network. And those shows that they create are normally successful. Why? Because they base those shows off customer data. So they create a show. They say, hey, people like a strong female lead in a drama based in a city. And they find people around that topic. Maybe it's 200,000, maybe it's 1 million. And they create a show around that. And that show will become Orange is the New Black. So once again, before, like Hollywood does this thing every summer where they spend millions of dollars on movies and some of them flop. Why? Because somebody had a great idea, somebody signed a check, and you see the movie like, this is terrible. But what Netflix is doing is saying, before we invest that money in this show, let's look at the data. Let's look at the research. Let's see if there's a market for what we're selling. And if we find that, fine. Let's identify those people. And now let's create a show or a product around that. So I really think that's the way you have to approach things. And the crowd will tell you, people will tell you if you like it or not.
People are hardcore, man. It's like going on the Apollo. brother. If
Right.
you can stand, for those that aren't familiar with Apollo, just Google the Apollo Theater in New
Right.
York. The people will definitely tell you. Well, you talked a little bit about your book,
Right.
Binge Worthy Branding.
Yes.
What should, if I were to read this book, what are some of the takeaways from this book? And then how can I use this book, or how can my listeners use this book to then increase brand visibility, or just increase their visibility as a speaker or whatever they're doing?
Yeah. First, I'll say this book is really a simple read. It's a quick read. And I think a lot of times people write books that are so like high level, but this book is really getting to the basics and really what I talked about. You know, it sounds simple, but you're surprised how many people and companies don't focus on their customers. So it really drives home focusing on your customer. It really drives home using technology to get a better idea of what they're doing. And it really drives home the importance of customer experience. Like I said, everybody here is competing on price and product and all these things, but nobody's thinking about the experience. So the book really drives that home. And the book too explains the time we're in now. So right now, I liken the time we're in now to, we sound old now, the pre-iPhone stage. So before the iPhone came out, there were flip phones, there was Motorola, there was Samsung, there was BlackBerry. All these phones are great, right? And then the iPhone came out, and in an instant, BlackBerries, flip phones, Motorola's, they weren't cool anymore. The iPhone came out, it had music, it had apps on it, and it changed everything. And it's still changing. Companies are still chasing Apple right now. So I believe that as an economy, as a business climate, we're in that stage now to where people are on the fence about stuff, but I think pretty soon a shift in the market is going to happen where people are only going to deal with companies that are binge worthy, companies that are easy to do business with, companies that are using apps, that are using different products and softwares, companies that have great customer service. So I think now is the time to invest in your business, to invest in technology, to invest in your customer service, because just like the iPhone, there's going to come a day pretty soon where boom, it's going to be the have and have nots. And that's happening now, you know, with this pandemic coming down. The companies that were already thinking about digital, the companies that were thinking about customer service are the companies that are going to easily transfer. But the companies that are being stubborn, that are saying, hey, you know, it's all about me, ignoring the customers, those are the companies that are going to fade away. So the book is really a call to action saying, hey, the way you've done business before, yes, it worked. It still can work, but you need to change some things. You need to update some things. And as we go into a recession, as people become tighter with the dollar, they're only going to go to businesses, brands that value them. They're not going to stand in line for hours. They're not going to deal with bad customer service. They're not going to be on hold for 40 minutes trying to speak to a sales rep. You have to be all about your customer. You have to be binge worthy.
Which is the title of the book, Binge Worthy Branding. Sterling, how can my listeners get a copy of the book, and how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, well, the books and retail's everywhere. The best and fastest way is to find it on Amazon. If you just type in Binge Worthy Branding, you'll see the book. There's the ebook. There's the print book, and also on Audible, there's an audiobook as well. So any way you want to consume the book is available. The best way to find me is the internet. If you just type in Sterling McKinley within Google, you'll find me on every network, every platform. If you go into any platform like LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram, just type in Sterling McKinley and you can find me that way. The final way is my website. Visit that. That is my name, sterlingmckinley.com, and I'll be happy to talk with you.
And if you type in Sterling McKinley and he is not wearing a red blazer, you are at the wrong website. So keep
That's right.
And look for that red blazer. Sterling, what's is in store for you next year with your company, with your brand, and for the people who are your clients? What should we look forward to next year?
Yeah, well, I'm working on a second book. Not sure about release date yet, but it's to be about personal branding this time. So looking forward to doing that, and just continue what I'm doing this year, getting more in line with my customers, doing more speaking on a bigger level and bigger stage as well. So Yeah, I mean, I guess next year will be such an this year. Me just continuing to refine myself, get a better idea of who my customer is, a better understanding, and then find ways to serve, whether that's writing a book, whether that's doing a podcast, whether that's doing more video content. I plan to do much from video content next year. Just finding ways to connect more with my target audience.
Well, you and I definitely got some work to do together, man. I appreciate you hanging out with me. But before you leave,
Thank you.
the second part of my show is called the Super Bomb Questions. One of my favorite parts of the show is brought to you by Mountain Made, where I get a chance to ask you some very different questions. But the first part is that you need to respond to them as quickly as possible.
Okay.
You ready?
All right, yes.
All right. So here we go. Sterling, what's your favorite word?
Love.
What's your favorite quote, Bible verse, or song lyric?
Favorite quotes. Man, you got me. Keep the faith.
What's your superpower?
Teaching.
What's your spirit animal?
Good question. I think a rhino.
Rhino, good one, man. That's a different one. What brings you to tears of joy?
Man, great question. A lot of things. Just seeing people fulfill their dreams.
What brings you to tears of sorrow?
Seeing people lose. My dad passed this year, but he lived a good life. But I hate seeing people just live unfulfilled because you only have a short time here. And it's like, hey, you should get everything done you could. So I would say unfulfilled dreams.
What do you wish you had more time to do?
Oh man, that's a great question. Speak.
What values do you live by every day?
Be the best Sterling I can be.
What guides your heart?
Helping.
If you could tell one person you appreciate them, who would it be and why?
Wow. I guess it would be my mom. I mean, I tell her that regularly, but once again, now just having a kid, seeing the amount of work you put into a kid is amazing. And I'm only 3 months in, and like, wow, the sacrifices you made for all these years, amazing. So yeah, my mom.
If you were in the Mr. America talent competition, Sterling McKinley, what would your talent be?
Speaking.
Oh, wow. Well, brother, it has been an honor hanging out with you today. Go check out Sterling McKinley, pick up his book, read all his blogs, his YouTube stuff. It's amazing stuff. I encourage you to build your brand. So it's an honor hanging out with you today. I learned a whole lot of information about myself. I'm looking forward to the personal branding piece. I think it's going to be an amazing book just like this one is. So thanks for hanging out with me today.
Thank you for having me.
So I also want to thank my super duper producer. I also would like to thank my engineer, Alexander Block, my super duper producer, Nicole Klempaka, Supremacy for our theme music, and all of you for listening. We cannot do this without you. If you want to know more about me, go to drdrlds.com. Check out all the things that we're doing there. Please check out what we're doing. Also, and as always, believe that something wonderful is about to happen, but some people miss the message because they're too busy looking for the mess. Thanks for tuning in, and you've been listening to Sound Bombing. Peace.
The Super Bomb questions are brought to you by Mountain Made CBD. Mountain Made is changing the CBD game by offering a line of high-dose CBD tablets at an affordable price. Their products are THC-free and third-party tested for accuracy, cleanliness, and potency. Their products, which ship nationwide, include Build for CBD saturation, Boost for precision titration, and Recover for rest and rehab. With 9 years experience in hemp and fitness, Mountain Made's founders are focused on creating a quality product to help those who live an activated lifestyle. Check out mountainmade.life. Again, that's mountainmade.life to find out more about how their products can help you crush life. Remember, their products ship nationwide. Go check out their website today and follow them on social media at Mountain Made. That's the @ MNTMADE. Our staff at Sound Bombing uses Build before a morning workout. which helps to push our bodies to a whole new level on a daily basis. Try Build, try Boost, try Recover. Our staff is using these products to enhance our active lifestyle naturally, and we are crushing life with Mountain Made CBD, and you can too. Start today by going to mountainmade.life and ordering Build, Boost, Recover, or the multitude of other products that they have which will enhance your lifestyle. I promise you, you won't regret it.